Fine. I'll grant you that this was caused by government intervention in the economy and the currency far before FDR. And I'll grant you that the New Deal didn't stop the Great Depression, but FDR's president when World War II comes along, and that's what finally got us out of the Depression and got everyone under full employment.
People say World War II got the United States out of the Great Depression. Almost everybody thinks this, or at least thought it, until historian Bob Higgs came along and forced people to recognize the absurdities that are buried in this. It's true that if you take 22% of the labor force, 11 million people, conscript them into the army, unemployment goes down. Presumably, I don't need to draw you a diagram about that. But a healthy economy does not need to take 11 million people and risk having them all die.
The problem with any kind of economic data is that you need to analyze it to understand what it's saying. So something may be factual, but it may not necessarily be truthful. So yes, it is factual that sending all the unemployed people overseas to war produced a drop in the unemployment rate. And it's factual that they're given food and clothing and shelter and helmets and guns. And in one sense, they're better off. But it's not truthful to say that if your entire job consists of 24/7 being worried about having the Nazis kill you, that this can be considered normal employment.
This has nothing to do with whether or not you think World War II was a good idea. The question is, what were its economic effects? Does it lift the country out of the Great Depression? No, it doesn't. If war spending really made a country wealthy, then today maybe the U.S. and Japan should do the following. Each of us should build the most spectacular naval fleet in history, an enormous armada of gigantic, powerful, technologically advanced ships. Then these two fleets should meet in the Pacific. Now, obviously, we don't want to kill anybody, so we'll take all the naval personnel off and evacuate them. And at that point, the U.S. and Japan would sink each other's fleets. And then we could all celebrate how much richer we'd made ourselves by devoting labor, steel, and all these other inputs to producing things that would wind up at the bottom of the ocean.
So if none of these programs and war ended up stopping the Great Depression, what are we supposed to do the next time the economy takes a downturn? Sit in our hands and do nothing?
Well, pretty much yes. We've had this experience before. The forgotten depression of 1920 to 21, that was a downturn that in some ways was every bit as bad as the Great Depression. And yet by the time the hapless Warren Harding, I hate to call him that, he's a good guy, by the time it occurred to him to do anything about it, it was already over. Once the dislocations of World War II were behind us, and once it became clear that the federal government was not going to engage in any more ambitious reconstructions of America, investment resumed. Business came back out from hiding, and prosperity returned.